best idea is to
Here we go. We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Playthrough Poll. Today, we're going to look over some of the Path of Exile 2 update notes and changes, and I hope you'll join me. And if you're interested in this stuff, you probably already know. If you're not keeping up on it, I'll go over the big points that I think are going to make a big difference. Kind of what I've come to expect in some websites like PoE2 database and PoE2 Ninja and stuff like that. That should help us out. There's also Path of Building, which is like a little application you can download, which basically lets you build your character and kind of put different gear on it and see how much damage you do. Essentially, oh no, I need PoE2 Ninja, not PoE1. There's one, builds, there we go. On the hunt, this is the last league or patch, not really a league, we'll call them leagues, but not quite fleshed out as a league yet. I double check, okay, it looks like everything's good. Awesome. All I had to do is pop my chats out. Be good to go. Awesome. We got all the patch notes here on the database website already. And I'm sure anyone interested has already read over them. But let's just grab the big things.
the sprint so you can engage with no danger.
Now you can sprint. It's plus 50% movement speed.
Than basically any monster in the game.
You have to roll first, but that's no big deal.
And this was a huge reason that the campaign could.
But if you ever have ridden a Roa, you know what happens when you get heavy stun. And if you get hit at all while sprinting, you get heavy stunned.
The primary purpose of this feature is to make navigating areas faster when out of.
Now you notice like these guys are quick, but what they did was they, in a previous patch, to stop the over aggressive mobs from chasing you too much and making you feel like you were just being assaulted. They made the mobs complete their animations even though they're going to miss. Like if you go back here and you see this little fast guy, if we can play this at like a slower speed, I can show you. These little guys right here, they're going through the whole swipe animation. When the game first launched in 0.1, and when early access first launched, those little animations, the AI would stop because it knew it was gonna miss, and then it would keep chasing you. But you see with the plus 50% movement speed, you essentially don't have to fight these guys. But this guy kind of he cuts the corner too close, and he kind of gets hit on purpose, I think, for the video. And when he gets hit, it only takes one hit right there, and you fall, and you're heavy stunned. And then you're probably dead. In most cases, unless you're extremely over-leveled for the area, this is supposed to be a death. I mean, you could if you have mana flasks right here, you could spam them, or I mean health flasks that refill your health instantly. You could spam them and survive maybe, but it's supposed to be a huge punishment because plus 50% movement speed breaks the combat. You already can get plus 35% movement speed on boots, and then you can get a few more for every socket. These new socketables they put in the game. You can get even more movement speed on your boots. So, I mean, you're probably running at plus 50% movement speed. I'd say if you look on PoE Ninja, you can bring up a column here, right? That is movement speed, and you can see what people are playing the game at. And it can go all the way up to 240. Now, most people are not this guy. This guy's build is essentially all movement speed. A war spear, 1% increased movement speed per 800 evasion. So he's running the Queen of the Forest. I think this was also changed. He has no movement speed on his boots. That's crazy. He could go even higher. So 100, I think, is base. I don't think there's. If I go to 90, these guys are at 0. I don't know. That must be some glitch. I don't know how you have 0 movement speed. Some people are just under 100. I know equipping armor does lower you by a little bit. So these guys have equipped armor and gotten no movement speed bonuses, I guess. So I guess you could go below 100, but I'm pretty sure 100's base. And most people sit around like 120 to like 160, somewhere around there. Sprinting basically starts you off at 150, and then you're going to be able to get up to these ridiculous numbers pretty easy if you could sprint in combat, which is why they have this heavy stun mechanic, similar to the Roa. That's the only downside to the Roa is that, but on the Roa you actually have a stun meter down here above your flasks, and you can kind of tell when you're getting hit on the Roa. You can roll off of the Roa and reset that stun meter. This is a big punish, right? So that's that. That's sprinting. Should be fun. I can't wait to hear a bunch of people complain. The complainers will always complain. If I've learned anything about gamer, people are going to complain. Casual players are going to complain. I think high level players won't complain because they understand how to use it, but casual players will complain about this because they're going to die sprinting. And so I can't sprint, I'm getting killed. And when that's not, you're not supposed to be doing this if there's a monster on your screen, period. You're supposed to stop and kill the monsters. But so be it. Support gem changes. You can now use the best support gems on every skill, multiple of the same ones. And on my little example build here that I've been theory crafting for the mercenary tactician, I ended up with heft, brutality, and martial tempo on every attack skill. Some of them after that, after those three, the other two are a little bit different, but heft, brutality, and martial tempo ended up on every one of them because these are just like the strongest numerical bonuses. You can look for these on the database website. Heft is a cost multiplier of 120, but you deal 30% more maximum hit physical damage. So on a roll, right, this is just maximum hit. So in reality, this is effectively half of that because you're going to just increase your top end and not your bottom end. So it's 15% more damage. Martial tempo, 20% more attack speed at no mana increase. And then brutality, 25% more physical damage, deals no chaos and no element. So this is pure physical, which means actually, I guess that means on my rings and stuff, I don't need adds cold damage anywhere. There's a few times in here where I have add cold damage or add fire damage, and I guess none of that really matters. I'll have to find different modifiers to put there other than adds elemental damage because those are going to be useless. I didn't realize that actually had a downside, but 25% more physical damage is great for my build. Give me one sec, guys. Alrighty. Where are we? Right. Skill gems. So I think a lot of people are not taking into account how much power this is going to add to the game. People look at the patch notes and they look at all the nerfs to the skill changes and they see I don't know, all the nerfs to the let's see here. Block chance, that's a big one. We'll see that block chance went down to 50% from 75. But what they don't notice is that blocks now block all hits, including slam, where they didn't block slams before. And you also can parry all hits, including slams. And a lot of people they gave up parrying, but really the only problem with parrying was the slam. There was no other issue. And say, oh, it's slow or whatever, but yeah, I mean, compared to some of the other stuff you can do, like running around throwing lightning spears or lightning arrows, and where you can keep moving while you do that, and then this other character is stopping to parry, sure. I think eventually they'll find a way where if you stop to parry something, essentially you're going to kill the whole screen. That's kind of what they have to do to make it worthwhile. One sec, I need some background music here. I should do. There we go. All right. And when I looked at, I went back and looked at my Amazon from the last season. I didn't even have 50% block chance. I had like 46. So this actually just made my character stronger and more likely to block and parry. So your block is reliable, and that's what you want when you're going to stop and block something. You really really want reliability, because if you walk up and you try to block and you get one shot, you're not blocking, you're not parrying. And I'm talking about active block, right? They buffed active block and passive block. So this is passive block when you're not holding up your active block with your shield. When you're active blocking, it's much stronger, right? Because now it's just, you're always going to block everything that could possibly hit you. There's nothing going to go around it except like on the ground damaging ground effect, like acid or poison or fire, or any of that stuff. Yeah, you're not going to want to stand in that. But yeah, my guy wasn't even at this. So like this, who does this hurt? This hurts exactly. Before I even saw that, I wrote this. Evasion's getting deflect for a freebie from all the leaks. This is from the leak. Shields. Blocking and parrying works on all attack. No, that wasn't pre-leaks, was it? If all classes can do sufficient damage, equip a shield. The damage reduction is insubstantial for another defensive layer and block chance. I wrote that before the actual reveal, and this is exactly who that targets, is people who literally are just equipping a shield because it's the best thing you can do to get passive block chance, and investing in it, right? If you invest above, right, because a normal shield with a good shield will get you just barely to 50. If you invest on the tree, you can go up higher on the passive tree. So you search in here, block chance, you have block chance is doubled, 5% block chance. Oh, this kind of looks bad. We have some stuff for the Amazon. There's some block chance, but over at the Warrior, there's also block chance. So yeah, block chance. These nodes got worse because you're gonna overcap, or you could run a shield with a different affix, and you could put in these, and your shield could do something different. But likely, there's not anything better on the shield. I'd have to go check all the shield stuff, but holding up your shield while you're blocking got much better. So this was like, I guess, a required balance, and I think this passive block was the issue, because this indirectly also makes two-handed weapons better. Kind of. A little bit, because like I said, I wasn't even overcapped. Anybody who was playing the game overcapped and taking these nodes, block, wide barrier, or anything over, any of these nodes, yeah, you are getting up to 75. You could just put these somewhere else and you could go back down to 50 and no harm, no foul. So when they say like they, nerf block, like, yeah, I mean, you just put it somewhere else, right? Even if you're like a one-handed mace warrior, you don't have to overcap. So you're just putting them somewhere else at the very least. And it's like, yeah, you're getting a little less tanky, but hopefully you could get tankier in a different way or more damage with those points, right? Because you're not overcapping unless you're investing something into it. Because the shield itself doesn't get you overcapped plus 50. I had a pretty good shield. I don't know if it was like max, but it was pretty good, and it got me to 46. So I'm pretty sure a max shield will get you at about 50 block chance, that is. So yeah, that's passive block nerfs. And so yeah, people are saying that it's all nerfs. Oh my god, look at all these nerfs. And people don't really realize that like the first thing in the changes there's ascendancy, skill tree. So not only do we get a bunch more skill tree, which is just power, new clusters are going to be powerful. Let's say half of these are bad. Well, that means half of them are good, right? So 8 new clusters between the warrior and witch sorcerers. So in the druid and paladin area, they got 8. The mercenary got the most, and the witch and sorceress got the most. And then everybody else, the warrior kind of got the least of the classes that are released. And then the ranger, huntress, and the monk got some. The first thing that people didn't read here is that all the skills in the game got roughly 5% more damage at gem level 20 and roughly 20% more damage at gem level 30. So with just like a +6 weapon, normally you can get like +9 to your main skills pretty easy. So you're probably going to get the most of this. You're probably going to get roughly 20% more damage, period. Through the campaign, it'll be, right when you get to end game, you'll be at like 5% more. And then once you get like pretty late game gear and you get all of those additional plus to skill levels, you're going to hit this pretty easy. I mean, even my characters can get up to here. So yeah. And these are for everything that's not called out. So all the nerfs, yeah, they got nerfed. All of the specific buffs, they got specifically buffed. But basically everything else in the game is also buffed. 20% more damage. Oh. Some things probably needed more than that. Some things probably didn't need that much. If you think about everything, what was right below all of the mainly used things? That means like lightning arrow's not on here, right? So that means lightning arrow got it, and lightning rod got it. So lightning arrow, lightning rod is probably the strongest thing in the game now. I think everybody understands that because it was the second strongest thing in the game. If you look at main skills, I guess whirling slash is on here a lot. Blasphemy. If we go in order of DPS, Primal Strikes is up there. Whirling Slash, Cold Snap, Blood Hunt. Somebody got Blood Hunt up to 335k. That's cool. Moonstorm. All of these things got buffed too. So it's like, sure, they can nerf a few things. But what they also did, I think, was they nerfed crit. The Stag Talisman. Nope, that's not it. Oh, well, they nerfed crit on the Amazon. They nerfed critical... reduced critical on boots. Here we go. They nerfed the soul core of Takaba, which used to grant 12% critical damage bonus, and now it's only 5. So they basically nerfed the whole right side of the tree with crit. Because if you go on here and you look at crit, well, I guess they got some stuff here. What's this? Critical damage bonus. They got some stuff over here for crits. But I know this whole side of the tree went exclusively crits. They went all the way over here. This, what do they call it? A wheel. Well, they're diamonds here, but everybody went here and here for the monk's crit stuff. Even if you were playing Deadeye or Amazon, you went up here to this crit. You got this crit. This is daggers, so you just skip this one. This is traps. You skip that one. That's not in the game yet. But then you come down the middle here and you take all this crit. You come down in the middle here. You take all this crit. And then you allocate on your necklace subterfuge mask here in the middle because you needed a health pool. With evasion, you needed energy shield, but maybe you don't now. If you get 100%, well, I'm skipping ahead. That's defensive, which I don't know if they specifically call out here, but they did also change defensive. So evasion has deflection chance, which is 40% damage reduction on the arm. You can convert elemental damage to affect your armor or to be resisted by your armor. That's great if the elemental damage is small, but the way they do the math is that your elemental resistances apply after your armor. So it's really only going to work on minor elemental hits, not big ones. So that's good to note. Right. So people are really undervaluing how much just using the best support gems will give you. And they removed the weapon swap speed, which was so annoying. I always tried to start off the last 2 patches weapon swapping, and it was just so much worse because of that 1 second swap time. And now it's instant. So might actually be able to do something cool like they intend this time. But yeah, every one of your skills is going to get the 20% more attack speed, 25% more damage, 30% more maximum damage. They're just the best numerical numbers. And then you have like 2 slots, it would seem like, at least on these attacks. I didn't do a spellcaster, but you have at least 2 slots on the attacks where you can do something specifically for what you want the skill to do, like more armor break or days on armor break, more crits versus blinded enemies, or 20% more damage at the cost of movement speed, or more damage based on how close you are, or another bolt in your magazine for like a burstier combo. So that's going to add a lot of damage, right? Because essentially you needed one skill to do everything before. Now, and they also buffed the combos. So like, this is the thing. Let's go look at the combo. Let's just go look at the combo they showed that I'm basing my build off of specifically. He is fighting the ice lady in the end game here somewhere. Here it is. So this is Riona, Winter's Cackle. This is the first boss in the first area, but revisited in the end game on the Mire map, everyone's favorite Mire map. And let's just look at what the combo is that they added to the game and how much damage it does in comparison to before. And we can kind of see if it's playable or not, right? Let me go back 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Here we go. So these skills used to do some damage on the mercenary. Let's see here, we have fragmentation rounds. Does 72% of base damage, but it fires 10 fragments. So essentially we're at 720% of base is 420 of base. And then the big boy, the high velocity rounds, is 464% of base. So the shotgun is still the most damaging thing here. The high velocity round and the armor piercing round are about the same, except the armor piercing round has a really high attack speed, multiplying the attack speed a bunch, and the frag rounds don't do anything to your attack speed. So this is base attack speed, and then the high velocity round is also base attack speed. Well, that's versus armor broken. Never mind. We need to look at the bottom number here. Versus armor broken, this is 14 attack damage. Sorry, I missed the versus broken armor bit there. So if this is, so essentially a high velocity round should do double, one high velocity round should do double what a frag round does. If you point blank them and hit them with all 10 fragments. Okay, let's look at what happens here for the combo. We are stacking up. We break her armor. This is like a caster enemy, so they have like almost no armor. So the armor gets broken in like 3 shots with the armor piercing rounds. And then we're going to switch and we're going to do the high velocity round. And this is going to fragment the armor. And that did 3,000 damage to her health. She's got some energy shield here. We can kind of make some assumptions about how much energy shield she has, but it takes off half the rest of her energy shield and 3,000, and then the first frag round does 7,000 damage. So yeah, you're doing 5% of the frag round per pellet. You have 10 pellets, so you're essentially getting half of the frag round per shot, and or half of the high velocity round per shot of your shot. So that's essentially another 700. So it's basically doubling the damage of your frag rounds. Considering if we put essentially the same support gems on both of them, the best ones that we can, you're shooting frag rounds as if they were high velocity rounds, right? We don't really know the exact new numbers. Let's see if he does another. Pretty sure you get another frag round that's not on the energy shield, or a high velocity round that's not on the energy shield. But yeah, each one of these is doing 7,000. But when he hits all the pellets, you got to try to stay really close to your target. Here's another, we're at 48,000. Okay, went away. Do we get another high velocity? 5,000. Okay. So it's doing more. We got a solid 5,000 on the high velocity round, and the fragmented rounds are doing 7,000. So the number here changed a bit. This is doing a little bit less damage. This is doing a little bit more damage. What is this song? There you go, that'll work. Yeah, so this combo seems pretty strong for a pure physical build. You're going to reduce their armor which is really, but you're also going to hit for a really good amount here. So it seems like a viable combo to run versus bosses. You can pierce a whole line. High velocity rounds does pierce 6 targets and knocks back enemies. So essentially, if you can get a line of enemy and then run through them with the shotgun, you can kill a line at once. Not the best clear. It's not chaining around necessarily. I guess if you could make this chain, but all of the chaining stuff usually lowers your damage also, so maybe you figure that out. But yeah, I mean, they're good. I mean, not only this combo, but they're going to buff all the combos. So yeah, I mean, power's just going up across the board. It's probably going to be the easiest patch yet. And they're making the pinnacle bosses more accessible because you only need so many shards to do the first one. I think I just barely got enough shards to do one try of the Delirium boss. My Amazon, I just logged in this morning and played for a bit, and I got a random divine drop. Somebody was running around just dropping tons of splinters in their breach. So yeah, hopefully we can actually get a playthrough where we get some pinnacle boss footage, because there's a lot of it out there, but I just did not want to grind for another 100 hours to get access to that content. It's kind of ridiculous at the end of the game. Even with a lightning spear character, it was just a lot of grind to get there. So luckily they're bringing that down a bit. Again, they made it more accessible in 02, and they're going to make it even more accessible in 03. Yeah, we got this whole abyssal thing where you're going to get even more modifier, and they have special ones in here that are probably strong. You're going to look for some crazy abyssal modifier. All the crafting got stronger, more deterministic. They got good pinnacle mini bosses on the map now. If you find I don't know if this is just a corrupted nexus. No, I think this might be a ritual example of a end-game mini boss. They also have a water one that's locked in. Oh no, here's the Vol. Here's one. The Vol. So if you see that, that's a pinnacle mini boss. And this one too. This is a sandstorm in the desert. You got a pinnacle mini boss. So essentially you have to clear out all the nodes that could go to this one, like this one, this one, and this one. And then you'll find in one of those, you'll find out that by the end of it, if you complete it, you can get in here and fight the pinnacle mini boss. You can also sell items offline. That's the very first comment, is that the trade is a little easier to do, even though the NPC is pretty low resolution. Right now, this looks like a placeholder NPC for the video. I know they shoot these trailers the night before. So yeah, trades are going to be a little easier, and you don't have to actually trade with people all the time. Although the old way of trading is also the same, where you can trade from your stash or you can trade from your NPC. So a good thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put stuff in my stash to trade it, and if a lot of people reply, then I know it's valuable, and then I can filter items the same way that we were before. You can filter items into your auto buy stash. If you don't think the item's any good, or you know the value of the item, you can sell the item when you're offline. If you need to do research on the item, or you could still do it the old way. You still are going to want to have some tabs in your stash that are premium tabs. Whereas I got this random unique, I don't want to go check how much it costs right now. I'm just going to throw it in here for 10 exalted, or 1 exalt, or 2 exalt, or whatever, and then see how many people message you, and then raise the price from there. And it is kind of something that people see as bad manners, but essentially it's just a lack of people knowing what the prices are. People just want to get a good, fair market value price for their item. And the way they do the currency exchange is, right, everybody kind of knows the market value of currency. in the current patch, or I guess now League, because since they actually have a League mechanic. But they don't do that with items, and they don't want to do that with items because they don't want to tell you how much your items are worth. So you have to do research on them. And I don't know. I think you could probably develop some system that would tell people about what the going price of their item is. And then that would make it even easier to make it even quicker to trade and sell stuff. Or you could just go, I mean, it's just time, right? It's a time investment to actually figure out how much everything's worth. And you have to keep on top of like PoE Ninja and the builds and stuff. And then you see like, oh man, everybody's playing Whirling Slash. Is this right? Is everybody playing Lich now? What is this? Everybody's playing Lich? I don't think this is true. No way. I think I have some setting here wrong. Yeah, I don't know where it is though. This looks better. Yeah, I don't know what I had going on there. But Lightning Spear, yeah, this is definitely correct. You go on here and figure out, oh yeah, okay, everybody's playing Lightning Spear. And the most used unique is Tangled Tongue, and the next one is Ingenuity. And then we have the Gym, and then the Beacon of Azir. Critical hits ignore monsters' elemental resistances. That's pretty good. I have one of those. And then the Sacred Flame Shrine Scepter. Gain a lot of damage is extra fire damage. Holy moly, that's a lot of damage. What the heck? Enemies in your presence resist elemental damage based on their lowest resistance also. Crazy. Oh yeah, I mean, and then you go in here and I think this guy switched his build to Lightning Arrow. He's got Lightning Arrow and tons of defensive Spirit Gems, and he's just going to run around in Lightning Arrow. And then if there's a boss, he'll drop the Lightning Rods while the boss is doing his intro animation, and then he'll Lightning Arrow. That was a 2-skill build, and this is probably still fine, except all this stuff on Lightning Rod. You could use all this stuff on Lightning Arrow now, because this is probably your best stuff. Martial Temple, Primal Armament. I think this is actually like the best one if you're doing elemental damage. 25% more weapon elemental damage. Yeah. So essentially Brutality, I don't even know. So yeah, Brutality takes away all your elemental and chaos damage, whereas Primal Armament doesn't take away your physical damage. Usually the skills that you use, like Lightning Arrow or whatever, convert some, but you're not losing the rest of it. Yeah. 40. So you still are doing 60% lightning, except for the beam, except for the chaining lightning clear. Yeah, chaining's pretty strong. I'm pretty sure they nerfed shock blast rounds, but not lightning arrow, which is kind of weird. Part of the issue here is that Primal Armament is so strong. And so you could put Primal Armament on Lightning Rod also now is the thing. And you're also lightning infusing. Let's look at that. This support gem, 25% damages extra lightning, 50% less cold and fire. Now see, this isn't no cold and fire. And it also gives you an option for lightning on your attack. I don't know. I feel like kind of going full physical armor break is kind of bad because of all this. All of the support gems don't. It's basically because brutality eliminates you from having these other options. Like when I set up my crossbow, it's all physical because there's 3 physical prefixes. But when I set up my ring, there was 1 left over for adds cold damage, and my gloves had 2 left over. I think that's it though. But you can go on the website here, go to modify, and then click on jewelry. So if we wanted to use brutality and do the armor break thing, like it showed in the video, obviously physical attack and then rarity is good. And I guess you could do accuracy, but we're gonna be kind of close to things anyway. Dang, I guess you would run 100 life, 200 evasion, 179 mana. A lot of these are dead. 450 accurate. I guess hopefully on the tree there's something like what the Amazon gets on her ascendancy, which is like accuracy rating to additional physical damage. And then we would have accuracy rating to add damage on the rings. Otherwise, we're taking a defensive stat like evasion rating. which is good, I guess. 200 evasion. Let's look at gloves. And on gloves, yeah, we took a lot of extra damage here because normally you would, but if you're trying to go full physical, again, it's accuracy or some minor defenses like plus 65 armor, plus 57 evasion. Like getting this on your gloves is not a huge deal, whereas like plus 45 fire damage. What's lightning go up to? 71 lightning. That's going to scale pretty well. Oh yeah, I mean, there's probably better stuff than what I came up with, but let's go over what I came up with since I've been talking about it so much. I came up with Totem Tactician, from what I saw going on. And the strategy here is that we're going to gain glory and endurance charges with an engine of skill. And we're going to do that by putting flashbangs in the new mortar cannon. And we're going to let our cannon totem stun. And then the stuns fuel glory. Because if you don't know what glory is, you get glory by heavy stunning. Glory is a resource that must be consumed to use certain extremely powerful skills. Heavy stunning enemies generates glory equal to the monster's power. Now, oh, great. Monster power is another keyword. Let's duplicate this. Oops. Monster power. So, normal monsters have 1, magic 2, rare 5. Well, that's the multiplier, right? An average monster has a power rating of 1. Strong can have 2 to 3. Weak might have as low as 0.5. So think like the little blood flies, or like bigger or stronger monsters might have like 2 or 3. And then you multiply that to the monster's rarity. So a normal average monster that's magic is 2, but if it's a rare magic, a rare average monster, it would be 5. If it's a rare strong monster, it could be up to 15. All right. Unique monsters always have 20 power. You can have up to 20 glory and lose 2 glory per second if you haven't gained glory in the past 30 seconds. Is that a woodpecker? 1 sec. All right. Anyways. So I don't think people have realized this, that changing Valor to glory on the banners, which were giga buffed, means that you have to start heavy stunning things. If you're not heavy stunning things, then I haven't played a mercenary, but I know physical damage is what stuns, right? While an enemy is heavy stunned, they cannot act and count as immobilized. So I think building up heavy stun counts as an immobilizing thing. Physical damage and player melee damage each cause 50% more heavy stun buildup. For players, these bonuses are multiplicative with each other. So if you are doing physical damage, it's 50% more. And if you're doing melee damage, it's 50% more. So obviously, a melee banner guy is going to get the most glory. And that is what the previous glory ability was. It was Hammer of the God. The warrior. Their big glory skill did 1,500% of base damage. But this requires 20 glory. Now in the patch notes, glory now decays faster. I missed that. Well, it says banners generate glory when you attack enemies. It doesn't say heavy stun. But maybe you don't have to heavy stun. Because I was figuring it could be hard to heavy stun if part of the bonus to heavy stunning is being a melee character. And these guys are supposed to use crossbows. Oh, they all require 200 glory to place, but they also gain glory when placed. Okay, generating 200 glory is not easy. I think I guess I don't know how fast you could use Hammer of Gods, but when it's just attacking, that's a lot different than having to heavy stun, right? Heavy stunning everything would take a long time. But if it's just attacking, this might be not bad. There's also a global limit of 1, yada yada. Essentially, I thought I had to stun to feel glory, but I guess stunning also would fuel glory that amount that we went over, in addition to attacking. Oh, and we can generate charges with enduring impact because they highlighted a skill here. So it's not just about glory generation with the mortar cannon with flashbangs. See if I can't speed this up a bit. There we go. We got sources of endurance charges. 30% chance to get an endurance charge when heavily stunning a non-unique enemy with the supported skill, or gain 3 when it's a unique. So you can put that support our any skill that hits enemies. And I'm pretty sure the totems would hit enemies. So we double check that. It's an attack. It should hit enemy. Yeah, seems fine. So what? Well, what are we using it? Why do we need endurance charges, you may ask? Well, we're going to use the summon ancestral totem with the sunder inside of it, which would require 3 endurance charges. And why I want to try this out is because I don't know how many endurance charges will generate, but so ancestral totems no longer count against the number of totems you can have. But if we can generate more charges, we can put down more totems. And the new ascendancy to tactician gives you strategic embankments if you want to take it. And this means all of the totems in the game get their own auras. So our warrior totem will give an aura that has 40% increased glory generation. So we can put down banners faster. The artillery ballista, which used to be the ripwire ballista, has 40% increased immobilization buildup. Well, why do we care about that? Well, it itself pins targets, but also, if you remember, heavy stun also says immobilized. So we're going to get more heavy stun with that. Good. Potentially, yeah, right here, immobilized. A target is immobilized if it cannot move, for example, pinned, heavy stunned, or electrocuted. And we're focusing on pinned and heavy stun. So we're going to get 40% more stun buildup by having, well, it's 40% increased. So this is an additive number. It's not more from the artillery ballista. And the mortar cannon grants 15% of damage gained as extra fire. Now, when you put these down, this was the main issue I had, that I wish they would change this. This is the kind of the hang up for the build. When you look at the character ascendancy for the tactician, cannon's ready. Your skill totems have 30% more skill speed. Totems only use skills when you fire an attack projectile. Aim. I mean, we have to use a crossbow. It would be so sick if we could use cannons ready and use a hammer, like a 2-hand mace. Because then this node over here, suppressing fire, now adds 40% increased immobilization buildup. So you're getting this, well, this is 40% more, right? This is 40% increase. So these will stack up pretty well. Essentially, we are doing melee stun buildup more than most, in fact. And we're going to do that through our stun grenade, our flashbang, mostly, while we break their armor. So you can see we have a little engine here that kind of feeds back into itself. As soon as we stun something and we generate an endurance charge, not only are we fueling glory by hitting things and stunning things, and we're getting our endurance charges, we're putting the summon the astral totem down, and then we're going to get 40% faster glory gain and 40% increase. Well, actually, we could do this. We're going to do this first. I mean, we just kind of basically, we kind of have 40% increased glory gain, or immobilization buildup, rather, right? That kind of cascades down. But as soon as we get the first totem up, we're going to get even faster glory gain. And we'll be able to have banners down, hopefully while moving around, and be able to keep putting the banner down. So, like, the idea is you put down both your totems and you try to break the group's armor, sunder their armor with the totem if you have endurance charges after you cleared your first group. And then you're going to kind of move all 3 of your totems and your banner up to the next group. And you're going to have to kind of use your fragmentation rounds, and it'll have all the best skill gems in it. So, like, I don't think while you're clearing, you necessarily have to break the armor or fragment the armor with a high velocity round as you go around and clear, because a lot of the mobs are trash. But if you get to like a rare, maybe you stop and break its armor to like do your full combo on it. But essentially, you're moving up these 3 totems and your banner, and the banner's got huge buffs. The Defiance banner is 30% more defense and 30% move speed. So I feel like if you do enough damage, I mean, you're just going to get 30% increased move speed, and you have sprint, and you have boots that also have sockets that add move speed now. So you're going to be able to get like, that's an easy 150% increased move speed or so. So we're talking about like 200 if you're sprinting. So if you go on PoE Ninja and you bring up the movement speed column, right, you're going to be faster than the fastest characters in the game right now with just your boots and your banner and sprinting. Like, and you notice these guys, I mean, 66k damage is nothing to scoff at. This guy's got a really good build. He's got really good health, really good damage, and really high movement speed. And he's playing Tangle Tongue, Corrupted Extra Socket. Oh, plus the Palm of the Dreamer. Oh yeah, this guy's kitted out, man. Because you're just with these boots, you have 35% increased movement speed, and then you have 5%, and then you have 100% increased effect of socketed item, which I guess that's the corrupt on these. I didn't realize that was a new corruption. I did some updates mid-patch after everyone, including myself, quit, because we kind of lightning speared the game to death, honestly. I'm not seeing it under the corruption list. So you get that. Or it's an essence. Okay, you get the essence of horror. Upgrades a normal item to magic or a magic item to rare on gloves or boots. So he crafted this when he went to rare, and then he rolled the rest of the mods. And this is pretty good. I mean, this it's the best base. It's got good energy shield. The stun threshold is fine, I guess. Very nice. And then on the rings, usually you have 3 added to attacks, and then resistances. And you also need some dexterity in this. You will need less stats because everything got reduced by 25%, all the requirements. So these stat rolls are going to be even less desired. You're probably going to want more resistance. And like, this guy's not capped on chaos. I'm sure this guy has subterfuge mass. He allocated spiral into depression, which has 3% movement speed. So he took all the movement speed on the right side of the tree, and then he allocated the only movement speed on the left side of the tree, even though he's got like no armor. He took something that has armor on it because it has 3% more movement speed. Yeah, he just wants to go quick. And that's what you can do when you start here. It's a pretty good starting spot. Cast on critical sniper's mark. We've also got Essence Drain and Frostbolt in here. Wow, he's got so many spirit gems. Wow. 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, is this spirit? Oh, some of those are from his ascendancy. He's only got like 3 attacking skills though, so that means he's at 6 spirit gems socketed. He's got 343 spirit. Yeah, that's insane. Plus 60 on an amulet. What a sick build. I could still corrupt mine for an extra socket, and then this would basically be my weapon if I corrupted it for an extra socket, and I put Soul Cores of Takaba in it. Cool. He's got some chaos. He corrupted his flask. I never thought about doing that. I see. So these are going to be your boots you're going to want to craft. Because you get 10% more movement speed. It's the only way to get that 10% movement speed is to craft this with an essence of horror. And surely this is one of the harder ones to get. These are corrupted essences: delirium, insanity, and hysteria. Essence of horror. I don't think I've ever even fought one of these. Essence Mod Damon's Horror Reaper boss. So it's an essence boss? I don't even think. Oh yeah, you can use Val orbs on the essence creatures when they're frozen in the essence. I've just never got a boss out of it. Only be used on belt. Item rarity on helmets, rings, or amulets. I mean, that's great. One random notable passive. I mean, I guess if you got a really good notable passive on your body armor instead of what was I looking at on mine? Well, I guess you have 3 resistances that you could potentially replace one of them with a notable that's better. But man, getting a random notable out of all the notables on the passive skill tree, there's hundreds of them. So you could get one that's totally useless for your build. Pretty easy. I probably just sell these. I don't know. Oh, and then he's got this on the offhand, huh? He's got 2 like perfect tangle tongue. So he can do fire or chaos. He's got 3% move too. You know, they nerfed the Amazon, but they didn't nerf the Ritualist. They did nerf Lightning Spear, though, so you could still play. I mean, it's pretty obviously Deadeye Lightning Arrow. I think everybody knows that's going to be the strongest thing, hands down. And it'll be even easier to level with because you'll have Deflect it when you're pure evasion. You only have to go a hybrid necessarily. You still might want to go a little hybrid, but you don't have to as much. I wonder once they do the update what my deflect rating on my Amazon's going to be, because my Amazon is a hybrid. But if I get like all enough deflect rating, still hybrid, I mean, I'm going to be able to look at that and go, oh, I have like 75% deflect. That's good enough. Because hybrid still gives you like triple HP, getting like 2,000 energy shield and 1,000 health. So it's kind of hard to get that from a 40%. Deflection's good. Getting any amount of that deflection is going to make you much tankier. I don't know if it'll necessarily dissuade you from going hybrid because you can more than likely still get enough damage, especially with all the damage buff. I would really like to see more refined patch notes because they're pretty vague when they get to the skill changes. Generally speaking, will have near identical base damage at low levels, 5% more damage at gym 20, and 20% more damage at gym 30. So your late game scaling, 20% more. I mean, you can scale 20% more a lot. So, I mean, if you don't want the movement speed from the Defiance banner, the War banner is 25% more attack damage and 50% increased accuracy and 25% more attack damage, 25% increased attack speed, right? They never give you more attack speed. 25% increased attack speed, 25% more attack damage, and 50% increased accuracy rating, if in case you wanted that. Because I guess you can still miss at long range. I guess if I'm going full physical and brutality and I'm trying to stun stuff, he adds cold on my ring could be accuracy. And on my glove, I don't remember if there was accuracy on my gloves. Possible. Yeah, there's accuracy here. And I guess you could just do plus life, probably be all you need. I'm trying to type with one hand because the brutality gem means other types of damage. It kind of really narrows us down, but other types of damage other than physical aren't going to help us stun. So they're not going to help us gain extra glory. It's not going to benefit from breaking their armor, right? The resistances will apply. It's a little bit harder to scale damage, yes, because you can't just put a bunch of extra elemental damage on your ring, which you normally do. But this should be cheaper. I don't think anyone wants to really play totems. Very few people read the patch notes and say, "Oh, I would have played totem." I see this as a cool opportunity to play multiplayer, but I played a little bit multiplayer last night, and honestly, the lag is basically unplayable. And in late game play, reading what's going on the map is kind of hard to do, but I hadn't played in a long time either. It could be fine. There's just a lot going on, and the game plays pretty fast. So like, hey, get in my banner while we do the rare mob. We'll have to see how that works, if it's actually good or not, if we can actually pull it off, or if like a Deadeye character or a ritualist just sprints ahead of us and we can never catch up. We did get a few maps that were slow going, like they weren't getting one shot. So I feel like when your party has a hard time with an actually hard map, that's when like this banner totem character that I'm making will be at the best, is when the game's the hardest. Because if you can just run around on one shot, you do just want a lot more movement speed. Just play Deadeye Lightning Arrow for the most of it. But yeah, this is the idea. And then you're going to put up your Defiance banners, and then Overwhelming Present. We do need a two-handed mace to cast the Mortar Cannon. And do I have Brutality? I do have Brutality on that. So the two-hand mace also doesn't need that cold modifier. I'm trying to figure out what I need to buy. So once you get to late game in a trade league, you usually end up buying something. Accuracy. I guess the only thing left is accuracy. I guess Sunder does go out. So right, so the full damage combo is that you break armor with your armor piercing rounds, and then you sunder armor with the ancestral totem. So you already need to have stunned some stuff for the endurance charges. Now we're going to get sunder out of the totem going off, and then you shoot your high velocity round to fragment the armor. And then you go in and you shotgun blast them with fragmentation rounds. That should about do it. Sunder armor now does 40% more physical damage, I'm pretty sure.
So you can build one.
Seismic Cry. This is Sunder. We got 309% attack damage at like half of attack speed, plus 9% total attack time. Did they change this in the patch notes? This sounds different. Sunder no longer has the 0.9 seconds to total attack time, but now attacks at 35% attack speed. So this is great because it will scale better with your attack speed, so you can mitigate it. Before it had like a base 0.9% attack speed. Oh, great. An additional 20% physical damage taken for the duration. Okay, so that's what it does. So this is wrong. They updated it even from when they recorded this. Well, this is 20%, so they just took off this total attack time that you or your totem could attack faster with it if you invest into attack speed. You're not, because essentially attack speed's a dead stat if you're gonna add a whole second to the total attack time anyways. So this is only as a 6-second duration. But what we're doing here is we're saying, okay, you're going to take 20% increased damage so that when we go in and hit them with the high velocity round, right, they're going to take even more damage so that when we hit them with the fragmentation rounds, that 5% per pellet is going to be as high as possible. We really need the biggest high velocity round possible. We hit them with one big one, and then the frag rounds do the work. Because every shot, essentially you can think of this as 10 times attack speed, because you're doing 10 fragments per shot at normal attack speed. And I don't think anything tops that. You're doing basically twice as much attack speed by those metrics as everything else. But the base attack damage is not super great, right? It's only 72%. That's actually less than base, whereas this is 91% of base. I guess a lot of them are less than base because of the crazy attack speed they have. But it's getting 5% of this huge hit. So yeah, every 2 shots will be essentially another high velocity round. And when I saw somebody actually have this equipped, they had 6 rounds per clip. 100% sure how the ammunition worked? Yeah, not 100% sure. I'll have to try it and play it. But I saw the guy with 6 shots. So essentially, you're going to do 3 high velocity rounds during your fragmentation round window, is what the math should add up to. So that'd be like 4,500 weapon damage plus the fragmentation rounds, which is another 300, which is not, that's not huge. Call it an even 5,000 weapon damage. And like compare that to like one of these hammers. Yeah, it's like dropping 3 Hammer of the God. That's pretty good, I'd say. Now it's kind of like extremely single target because you're trying to get all these pellets on the bot. I'll mess around and maybe we'll figure out a way to clear. I mean, we do have we have an AoE totem in a sundering totem, which does 600% base weapon damage. Holy shite, it's really strong. What the heck? And that's just the attack. The shockwave is only like 265. Okay, but the slam and then the shockwave, right? So the slam's going to do a ton, but the shockwave's just kind of a little bit of AoE wave clear. But granted, all the damage is getting buffed, so hopefully we don't need as much to actually clear. And then we're going to have Ripwire Ballista. I'm pretty sure this works different. This is like an AoE clear skill. It fires 4 projectiles, but they all hit enemies at once at 25% of your speed. So it's going to burst the area at a quarter of your attack speed, 40% your attack damage. Quality increases pin a lot more. Wow, 4 times as much. Okay, so this isn't really a huge damager from what I can see. Then we're hitting 4 times. That's 160% weapon damage at a quarter of our attack speed. Yeah, this is pretty extremely low damage, but it will pin, and we have increased immobilization buildup. So hopefully Ripwire Ballista, renamed to Artillery Ballista, is enough to pin enemies on its own and keep them pinned down for the grenade mortar to stun them. The grenade mortar is doing 400% base. Here it is. It doesn't have, the support over here is probably what has all the stats on it. So he didn't tab over to the second thing. So we don't have any good numbers. So explosive grenade goes off at 75% of base, has 3 uses at a cooldown of 5 seconds. Doesn't look like it's going off any faster. Hard to say because he's reloading. Looks like it's whatever the attack speed is of the grenade skill that you put in it. It doesn't say it really does anything to the damage. It does have more cooldown recovery rate, so you're going to get like a constant grenade effect. So we'll have constant flashbangs, but I don't feel like it's going to really change the damage much. We're just doing 400% of base at 75% attack speed probably. But it blinds them. And remember, if they are blinded, it lowers their accuracy, which means you have a higher chance of not only evading, but deflecting. But yeah, that's basically the build. We have like an armor breaking, sundering, fragmenting, fragging damage combo. And then for clear, we kind of have 3 AoE skills. They're kind of supportive. We're stunning a bunch, we're blinding, we're pinning. I don't know, maybe all 3 of them together is enough clear. We'll have to find out. Yeah, I'll have to find out. I mean, we're getting pretty well damage rows across the board. We can use the best supports in all of these. The base damages are going up. I like the idea of having the engine because this way we can always have our banner. So we're playing hopefully at 30% increased movement speed. Hopefully if we can run around as much as possible to move up the totems. That's all we can really ask for, because our damage, if our totems is most of our clear, it's going to take a few actions to set them up, and then they all have to go off, and then we have to move them up. We can also shoot. I mean, we could just shoot our fragmentation rounds are going to be, we could just shotgun. They're going to be strong. You just to shotgun while we clear, or we could use like our basically our assault rifle armor break to have high velocity rounds. We could do our whole combo on like the rare while the totems take out the blue mobs and white mobs. We'll have to see. Do I think it's going to be better than a pure dex character or a dex, like lightning arrow deadeye? Probably not. For group play, potentially, if you have like a really good group. I mean, we have a banner, and that's something that applies to the whole group. Yeah, like a minion build, right? If you have a minion character and a banner character, You can apply the banner to all of the minions. And now you're talking about some crazy interactions. Depending on what's on the tree, we could have more than one banner going at once. We could go, instead of these other things, we could go... Man, I hate Twitch chat. Holy moly. Get out of here with that. Yeah, but we could replace our spirit with another banner, potentially. And we could also... I saw one on here is armor break on heavy stun. So we could potentially even get rid of our armor breaking ability. And we could just use these two and have the mortar cannon also break the armor when it's stunning. That's what I've cooked up, just from what I saw. And I looked, and I look at the updates, and you have to take into account the current meta, which is like, yeah, I'm sure Wind Serpent's Fury is on here. We'll take Marks on here, Lightning Rod, Infernal Cry's on here. Oh, all the Deadeyes are taking Infernal Cry. Interest. Consumes endurance charges to empower attacks. Age, empower. Are you getting endurance charges, though? Missing something? I think the monk has something over here that lets you generate different types of charges. I'm not seeing him have it. Dang. Yeah, he just spec'd a bunch of movement speed, man. Everybody's just specking movement speed because you do so much damage and you have so much survivability already. The heck. Anyways. That's kind of my review of my build. We got new crafting stuff, go look at like Sir Gog or something if you want to talk about crafting. There's other creators out there that have already beat all this stuff to death. But nobody's talking about totems because nobody likes totems because totems were bad. A key thing to note is that totems now scale off your weapon damage. So if you can get like 1,000 damage weapon, like this Ripwire Ballista, one of the problems with like having a two-handed weapon, right, is that you can't get as much plus to skills. If you look at like the modifiers on like the scepters, you can get plus to minion skills. I guess you can just get plus to minion skills, huh? I guess there's not a lot of plus to skills in your offhand. But shields were so good, you were stuck taking like a wand usually. So you'd be down a few skill levels. And all the damage came from scaling on your gem levels before for the totems. But now big weapon damage is going to matter. So we'll have to see. For indexing in physical damage basically means that I want to be breaking everything's armor. So it might be more like a kind of annoying build to play. Up your totems and waiting for them to go off and running around and trying to break armor. I find a lot of synergy, right? This is all synergy, tons of synergy. And we can switch to our two-hand mace and cast our warrior totem just fine. I just see so much synergy here that it kind of plays itself. I don't think I'll have any issues, but we'll see. There's definitely some late game concerns or some gearing concerns when you can't add extra cold damage. You have to add accuracy. But that accuracy should affect the Sunder Shockwave. Because the Sunder Shockwave, I assume, also has to hit. AoE slam. Maybe not. Plus damaging area of effects. Okay, maybe you don't need accuracy for a slam. Dang. Don't really know what I'd want there then. Maybe I could ask for help from the guild or something, or the audience. If you guys know what supports you put on, I guess I could look right now and just kind of see if there's a Sunder skill. Not a lot of people are playing it. People have blood magic, giant's blood. As far as Oh, no. Main skill Sunder? Is that what I was looking for? Main skill, 1% played. Super critical. Fist of War. That won't apply to the totem. Any skill that hits enemy. Well, hey, this says it hits enemy. I think maybe Sunder does both. They hit with a strike or slam. So it does hit. So both strikes or slams hit. Is that what I'm supposed to believe here? It's just talking about, like, is it AoE or is it actually you swinging your weapon? So it appears it would hit because people are using super critical on it. But you can also use concentrated effect because it's an area of effect. So they're also giving it bleeding. So mine has martial tempo will matter now, right? I can't talk. Martial tempo will matter. So I'm keeping martial tempo. I have heavy swing on there. Heft. Nobody's using heft really. I wonder if super critical's better. Brutality, concentrated effect. I have to see what super critical is exactly. Oh, where'd it go? 100% increased critical damage bonus, 20% less critical hit chance. Well, I don't know. I guess this will matter based on my gear. I have a base 5% chance to crit, so that's 1% less chance to crit. So I'll have 4% chance to crit for 200% damage. I guess or I will have, what is this? Quick math. Or I have 5% chance to crit at 100% damage. Okay, I mean, this is 5% more damage. This is 8% more damage. So it's 3% more damage considering gear. This is increased and less, so less critical hit chance. So if I have no critical hit investment, this is better? Is that what I'm supposed to understand? If I invest a lot into my critical hit chance, this is probably not helping. The word less means it's going to take all of it into account, not decrease it by the base. If it was supported skills have 20% decreased, it would only be decreasing it by the base from my understanding of the game. All right. I think that's what I'm going to go in with. I don't think it's the best build. I mean, Lightning Arrow Deadeye is probably better, but this is fun. And I haven't played a character. I played a sorceress. I played a huntress. So I played spear and shield, and I played cold and a little bit of fire, staff, and wand. I think I'm going to do crossbow and one-handed mace totems, or two-handed mace totems. Saved my Deadeye playthrough for later. It's like, Deadeye's been really good every single path. So yeah. Pathfinder, however, needs buffs apparently. I think I'd rather play Pathfinder like poison stuff. They still don't have a lot of support for that. It's getting better, I guess. They had like one broken poison build that I think they nerfed immediately, so I think that's all for now. I'll leave you guys there, and it comes out, today's the 23rd. It comes out on the 29th, next Friday. So I'm probably going to rest up, maybe play some Age of Wonders in between, and then I'll probably stream on launch. Yeah, catch me then, next Friday. Or if you want to catch an Age of Wonders stream in between, I'll probably do that. But I'm going to take it easy, back, relax, and have some fun. The Exile 2's for everyone. Out.